Good day and welcome to Three Dudes and a Lady. Join us for a little inspiration, a little motivation, and perhaps a way to start your day. I am Mike from Virginia. My gratitude this today is for relaxation and recharging.
Hey, good morning, folks. My name is Earl Rule, residing in the state of North Carolina, and my gratitude for today is just being in air conditioning.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Jay Anderson from the wild, wonderful state of West Virginia. My gratitude is for, I'm going to go with Mike Jones. Relaxation was pretty doggone good this weekend.
Hey guys, I am Christine Wright, hailing out of the great state of Florida. My gratitude is for holiday weekends. Love them. Today, Jay Shetty talked about internet, not internet, but internet. A lot of times we look to others to see what approaches are working for them, right? But what about all the wisdom that lives within us? He spoke of Dana Cavalier, which was a director of performance for the New York Yankees. And a lot of times when he was working with players, he worked anywhere from mindset to nutrition, right? He didn't just do one type of thing. But when he worked with them, he would direct them inward first, right? Asking them, what felt good and what didn't, what helped the performance and what didn't, right? We usually ask the internet or others for guidance and, like what we can do, right? We rarely use the knowledge that's actually within us. He brought up stress. Um, let's say you're stressed out, right? We search the internet, but what if you search the internet for like stress reducers, right? But what if you just closed your eyes and took a few deep breaths and noticed what you're feeling with inside of yourself, right? Um, and what if that is you neglected to take breaks, right? So you decide to build rest breaks within your day so that you're not so stressed out, right? It can be very valuable both reactively and proactively, right? We take our inner self for granted a lot of times. And if you're having troubles with this, be gentle with yourself, right? It's not something that just comes to us, right? And don't forget there is gold within you. But the main thing is where do you look for answers, internally or externally? A lot of times in today's world, it's externally. A lot of times we're searching the internet, we're going to AI, we're um, looking at others on social media, seeing what they're doing or what's working for them. We don't necessarily just take it internally and see what's working for us or not working for us, right? Because a lot of times it's social validation that we're not in this alone. What are you guys' thoughts? Not all
It's
at once.
it's a good one because it's a little bit of a toughie.
Yes, definitely a toughie. Yeah. But think about it like, okay, so I didn't meditate for years, right? I was a very impatient, like hard charging, like, let's just get this done and we're gonna move through it, right? Push through it, right? Very not a great way to live, right? Um, and what I noticed when I started meditating, and I'm not saying this is gonna be for everybody, but once I started meditating over the years, I didn't notice it right away. It was one of those things that it built upon itself. I noticed that I became much more patient and much more less chaotic, I'll say, because I was very chaotic. Like I liked the chaos. I liked, the stuff that probably isn't healthy for me. And now I'm more subtle, more patient with myself, with my kids, with my husband, you just become more patient. It's hard to explain, but I definitely became way more patient than I ever was. And a lot of it is because I went inside instead of trying to look for external validation. So,
There's I think the key statement, the external validation point, because it's like I think we want we want to know how we're perceived. And I think that's human nature.
yeah.
And you can sit there and say, I don't give a rat's butt about anybody, what they think and all that. But at the end of the day, you really do. You do. And your emotions come into play on that. the toughie for me on this, on the inner part, is it was external first. Then we gained that knowledge. Then we're applying it down the road, meaning we're pulling inner out at a later time frame. I think. Okay, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel that. I kept thinking everything that Jay Shetty has said to us in the past. Now, if I get stressed out or whatever, I'm able just to sit down and breathe and say, what have I learned that's helped me reduce this in the past? Instead of, calling you guys up. Well, and then this is a tough part too, because we get on this platform on a daily basis, and baby, we can pull a conversation out of anything that he says and complain. I mean, it's true, we can, and then we can all figure out angles how to fix that complaint. So I think it's unique. I think we all know rephrase. He was talking about self-awareness, how key that it is, okay? One of the hardest things are what I would consider coping skills or coping mechanisms within the human person. Not everybody has them. Some has great coping mechanisms within. There's some people out there that just don't have those. They're conflicted on how to handle things. And I lost a good buddy of mine, and he didn't have good cope. And we discussed this. This is something that he had conversations with me over by his choice, not mine, not me trying to intrude, but by his choice, and telling me I don't do well with this. And I said, well, maybe we need to get some help here to try to figure this out, because I think he was at the point help was needed. So this is a really good one. It's again so surface leveled for sure. This is something that's hard and tough for me, because I have a hard time distinguishing what my inner is versus how I learned it, or someone, the last 2.5 years, us doing this podcast, or platform rather, man, I've learned so much. I wish when I was younger I had these skills or eye-opening epiphanies, if you will, because someone has made a statement. I'm like, oh, there we go. And then I could use the internet on myself a little bit more frequently when I was younger. Now I try to apply it. Maturity comes into play as always. Side note.
Yes, maturity definitely comes into play. Because when you're young, like I've watched both of I have a 21-year-old and an 18-year-old, and then my 18-year-old son's girlfriend who's 19. All of them, it's crazy how all of them think at 18 or 19, like they should have it all figured out. They know exactly what job they want. And then they get frustrated at themselves because they don't have it figured out, right? And they don't know what they want to do with their lives. And that's okay. And that's why I try to explain to all of them, it'll come, because they're definitely not being patient with themselves, because they see their friends, and maybe one of their friends has a really good job, and why don't I have that job? Or maybe one of their friends joined the military, or should I join the military? Like, what should I do? Like, should I go to college? Should I not go to college? Like, they have a lot of choices right now, right? And like the thing is like at 18 and 19, unfortunately, you're just not going to have it figured out yet.
No, that's the bulletproof and invisible part of your life.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. But they struggle. And it's crazy how all three of them have struggled in the same manner. Like every single one of them when they're 18 or 19 struggled. And now Phoebe is my 21-year-old is doing phenomenal. Like she's got a really good job. She does really well within her job. She's got a lot of savings. Like she is doing really well. Now, did it take her time to get there? Yeah. Yeah. It took her a lot of time, a lot of, heartache, a lot of figuring out what she wanted to do with her life, but she's at a point now where she's doing really well and she loves what she does. But it takes time. So don't be hard on yourself. Go ahead, Earl or Mike. Did you guys have something you wanted to add?
Mike, do you want to go first, or?
Sure. Um, it's interesting. Internet is just we were all born with a blank slate, right? Only thing we came out wet, pink, and crying. And we didn't have this great debut, right? But I looked at the four of us. There's an accumulation of about 220 years of experiences and knowledge. So that's all internet coming in to be internalized. But what I think he's really talking about is how we deal with it. What do we retain? What do we pull out? Um, how do we feel about certain things? So the knowledge is the internet can tell you anything, and five different versions of it if you don't trust the first one you heard. But how you process it, how it affects you, your opinions of it. Your opinions are probably based on your parents in a way. You like what they like, or you like the opposite of what they like.
Right.
So they had
Yes.
like our parents definitely had an influence on us
Yeah.
growing up, right?
This is every thought I had. The four of us suddenly got transplanted to a deserted island. Would we survive, and will we each bring a different skill to the table for our survival?
Absolutely. We're surviving.
Absolutely.
No doubt. And each one of us has a different skill set. Like you just said, Mike, like all of us bring something to the table for sure. And we are definitely surviving. Like I'll make sure we get off that island.
And I'll tell you, if one of the three of you kills it, I'll cook it.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. We're definitely surviving. Go ahead, Earl.
it'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, that would be. I'm not saying we should do that, but that would be
No,
fun.
yes.
I want to
A
pick you
little
back.
survival weekend.
Uh, the words that came to my mind were spiritual maturity, spiritual maturity.
I like it.
Yeah,
Um,
good one.
because I have to admit, I grew up in what I consider a blue collar family, and I think a lot of them wanted me to become in that kind of thing. I mean, I was in that for a little while, but realizing the hard work that you have to put in. And my mother was very strict. She was very strict with finances and money, and she was very frugal with spending. Of course, back in those days, you had to. Um, but the thing is, I've learned a lot from that, and had a lot of respect for my mother, who, she was a seamstress and she cleaned houses for a living. And back then, I mean, she got popular. I mean, she was just blessed to have that gift, and she grew more friends along. And me just growing up, doing different jobs, but learning more about myself. And when you go internet, you're asking yourself, okay, do I feel comfortable with this job? Do I feel comfortable with my surroundings? You have to do a self gut check. Even if it's a little painful at first, the realizing this might be an opportunity. If people are telling you, bro, you got to give this a try. And along the way, give yourself that leeway to see if this is a good fit. Because sometimes it can be a little scary to try something at first, but you look at what the benefits that it could offer and what it can bring to your future. You have to say, okay, I have to give this a try. You just have to plow through it and say, spiritually plow through it, just to get through those times. And if it breaks the ice and you're finding yourself, in a position where you're making friends, you're making good money, then you made the right decision. But a lot of times within the first few days, it can deter you, and you'll feel it in your heart if it's not a good thing. There are certain things that you look for, certain things, and sometimes the internet and ourselves says, okay, we have to analyze what we're doing. Okay, am I making money on this? If it's a no, then okay, I gotta weigh my options. And sometimes it takes time. You can't rush a good thing, but at the same time, you have to analyze your surroundings, because if the surroundings are not correct, then changes have to be made.
Yeah, and Earl, that's good. And if you feel like you're scheming, like you're doing something over here and something over here and something over here, like you feel like you're just like scheming to put stuff together, that probably means that you're on the wrong path, right? Because
Yeah.
Yeah, if you try
you're
to,
not in alignment.
Yeah.
Something's off.
it,
Yeah.
that's the word I was looking for, Christine, was alignment. You have to align yourself, and if you're not properly aligning yourself, then you're right. Something is off, and
Mhm.
you need to fix it.
Well,
Now,
you
go
you
ahead.
said a, you well you said a word. I want to stop you because I want you to expand on this. Right before maturity, you said spiritual
Yep.
maturity. I tell you what, right there's a resource. Right there is a resource that if we've been around, if it's been around for us all of our lives, it's we have inner net qualities and an understanding of some of those things. It poses this question. Let's say you didn't do a podcast, or let's say you didn't do a 90-day morning, miracle morning. Let's say you didn't do these things. How does that internet look now? So, the four of us need to sit back and be really proud of ourselves to say, hey, man, we took this upon ourselves. We decided to start something. We enjoyed it. So we kept going with it. We enjoyed it even more. And then we decided to make something of it. But what about the people that don't take? I mean, this is a free opportunity here. Anybody and everybody can have this. What if we don't take that opportunity? What does our internet look like? And I think a lot of times, I said earlier, some people can't cope. And I'm not sure coping is the word that I'm hunting for.
Yeah, that's kind of like
But they can't rationalize, maybe, sometimes when we need that reset.
Uh,
So,
for some people,
Earl,
habits and addictions are a very strong thing to overcome.
there you go. There you go.
yes.
There you go. So that spiritual maturity that you're talking about, Earl, that's a powerful statement right there. That's one that I would have immediately not come to mind, and then I feel shameful that it didn't come to mind, right? Because your spiritual belief needs to be somewhere in the forefront, if that's what you choose it to be, and that's powerful. I like it.
Mhm. For sure. And it's Earl, what you said, like our spiritual belief in ourselves, right? In God and everything, right? And knowing that each one of us has a purpose, we just have to figure out what that is, right? And each one of us were made with different gifts, and and that's why when Mike said if we're on a deserted island, all of us are going to bring different gifts and talents to that deserted island, right? Which means as long as we're using them and not just letting them go to waste, we'll be fine. We'll get off that island, right? We're going to survive. But if you don't, like, let's say you're really good at something and you don't ever use it, you're just wasting away your gift. Like, let's say Jay Anderson came on here. I would say one of his gifts is connecting. definitely. He's a connector. If he came on here and didn't connect, like he's just wasting away his gift, right?
I'll connect. E.T.
Yeah.
Phone home.
think
Good topic. Go for it, Mike.
I think a lot of people may go through life struggling on discovering their true talents and their gifts.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's a shame
Mm-hmm.
because we all have the human brain is a wonderful thing. Probably one of God's best creations.
For sure. There's a lot going on in our brains. A lot.
It's a very intriguing part of who we are, for sure.
Yeah.
With that note, I must say, it's easy to see that we are not licensed therapists. But man, I tell you what, we get on the app Calm and we listen to Jay Shetty every day, and it allows us to have unique and awesome conversation. And it's just like Mike said, this might be a way to motivate, might be a way to innovate, but it also could be a way for you to cope with your day. So, and I think with Jay Shetty on the internet, on the inner, INNER, net, being yourself, he gives us a tool that allows us to say, hey, hold on a second, let's think back in this a little bit. I'm feeling off about this. What's it going to take to make me feel right about this? So please come join us and see if we can help those angles out a little bit.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. And I certainly hope everybody will come back for more. Have a great day, everyone.